that I hold this very dear. I used to be very, very closed down. I didn't know what to say a lot of the time, so I just zip it. I didn't know if I was boring or if people liked me or whatever, but people never could gauge it because I just wouldn't talk. So I want you to listen to where your vocals are today and put your hand to your heart and say everything that you believe in your heart is true and that there's no need to to hide that. And everybody around you, if there's anybody in your sphere that's closing you down, keep putting your hand to your heart, and your hand will to your heart will guide you and what your next steps are. Being shut down, I was on thyroid medicine for myself for 20 years. I'm going to say for myself because there's a little bit of a story here. Again, I think we're live now, but just to kind of add to this, and it's a painful story, but that's where we're going. Is this pain is very divine. This is where when we feel the pain in our body, we go, okay, it's time to release, because if we keep it there, then it stops us from shining bright and beautiful and intentional. And I bet you're already doing that. But notice where you are right now. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? First, for me, it's like, can I find some friggin' happiness today? Can I? Because happiness can get me to joy. Joy will take the pain out of my body because I won't be thinking about my heavy mass of my body. I'll be thinking of light, free, freedom. I'll feel safe. So, safety. I'll feel my body's healing because that's the space that we're in. Like us motivators, all five of us right now are there to serve the space, to be able to get you in a shift from wherever you are now. Just gauge where you are. I love this part. And feel however long you get to be here. Before you leave, take a breath in, check in on your body. Make sure you have your journal and your pen. I got mine because I'm going to be learning today. And I got mine. And this is my health book, by the way. And I've been in the health industry for 25 years. And I'm still learning because you know what? When you put your hand to your heart, you realize your ego stops you from growing, like your brain. It's like, I already know that stuff. I know that enough. And I used to do that all the time. And I didn't know how to get out of it because I would go in a room and I would be with a coach. And just like this, like everybody's coaching us. We're just there playing. I'd be like, oh, I already know that. Well, I might have known 10% of that, but my brain was protecting me from wherever I was. Like, okay, you don't want to change. You don't want to change, Rhonda. And deep inside, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling so much pain today. Oh my gosh, how am I going to get out of this? And my brain was like, no, this is good. No, this is good. Yeah, the shit show's going down. This is good. You know. So notice and be aware. So you can put your hand to your heart and you go, here, wait, I know that, but where can I play with that? Where can I add it into my day? Oh, you mean right now I get to implement it? You better friggin' believe you can, because when you implement it right here and now, you stop wanting to fight. And we're noticing a lot of people out there wanting to fight. And sometimes you want to be involved in that. Maybe. I take a pause there because I want you to think about this. If you feel it here, you're going to get motivated in a way where you're not combating, but you're going to find your way through your heart because your heart is very smart. And you may not realize that your heart is intelligent. And we used to think, oh, in your heart, you're weak, keep it, protect yourself, only tell people that you love that are like in your circle. And now I tell everybody I love them. Like, I just love you so much. And I love you. And I love you. I love you for being here. So I'm going to hold the space for that for a moment. Take a breath and talk to your vocals. Just be real about what you want out there. I call this hashtag speaker locking arms. I'm welcoming you into the Fresh Talks Global Vision Show. This is where I hold the space of no blaming and shaming in this world. Now, I can't do this alone. And, this is not going to happen 100%. So when I say that, I'm going to bring that frequency up to what I want to see, but I want others that are in that light that are saying, globally, I see this happening, or I'm working with my clients and I see this happening, and this is my truth, and this is why I'm here. I know why I'm here. I'm here to open up focals. Why are you here? Why are you here? You're probably discovering that. So as each speaker comes in, I want you to think about what you want and experience with them as I'm introducing them, and you get to hear more about them. But what is in it for you, so that you can connect and you say, oh my gosh, I really like David, which you'll see his name's Rhonda Liebig, because something happened in the green room that was just really fun. And you'll want to step in and not say, oh, this speaker just said that, whatever, because I used to do that. That's how I know that. That's how I know this stuff. Yes, I'm displaying some really bad things I used to do, which is so good, because your bad stuff becomes really good when you start flipping it. So I want you to be aware of where you're showing up today, so that we can friggin' play, because we're at the Fresh Talks Global Vision. Yes. Okay, so here it is. We're ready to rock. We're ready to have 2.5 hour, 3.5 hour, not 3.5 hour. I can't go that long. Actually, I used to go 6 hours. But we have 3.5 hours, 2.5 hours with this group. Someone is not with us this morning that I thought was, so it was 3 hours. And a live show, just adjusting it as I'm going along here. We have time to play. We have time to be able to reminisce about some things we want to release. And this is about you. And I'm talking to myself too. I'm almost like outside of my body saying, okay, Rhonda, well, you better be learning, because every time you're with somebody, just somebody, people are going to call you out on your crap, or people are going to be entertaining you. And so I believe we have mindset transformation, entertainment that we're seeking every single day. I trademarked that. I'm like, how did I get through my childhood that I thought was so bad? When you're very young and you're just like, you're ginger, like everything that happens, somebody can look at you in a way and you go, and then, and that's an imprint in your body, or somebody says something to you, or somebody shuts you down, or somebody does something. You're like, oh, that is so wrong. Well, if you're used to revisit it and go, okay, I got your back, little girl or little boy, I got your back. Because you get to release it more and more when you discover that life is about playing. Life is a play if you step into that. And everything that is going to happen here today is going to be safe. And if you get a trigger, write it in your journal. And the trigger would be anything that just doesn't feel right. It goes, oh, that story really got me. Okay, that kind of scares me or something. Write it in your journal and then wonder why. Talk to yourself. What is going on with that? Because you never really have to visit your childhood unless you're with somebody that's their expertise. But I know that you really are visiting that because you're carrying that inner child with you. So every time that you have a breakthrough, you're clearing that for yourself. You're clearing that path. So when you start looking at your path as a CPA accountant, 10 years in like high productivity, barely any sleep, stressed out, raising the kids with my hubby too, but never really around, that it was about drive, work, and never took the breath to get in the heart. It was just high competitiveness. Here, wait, that woman is doing that. Well, I can do that even better. Let me prove it. And it was just a terrible atmosphere. Oh, that guy can do that. Well, I better act more masculine now. Because that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a boy because I thought men had it easier, and I had to do something with my childhood. Now I talk to my brother and I go, oh, you dealt with that? I didn't know that. And so I started reconciling these stories. Use your journal because nothing is bad. It may be painful, but your next dip that you go down, Know that we got your back here. We're motivating today. And we're talking about things that you get to make choices. And nothing's going to be thrown in your face at all. And if it feels like that, write in your journal. I'm laughing going, maybe that's what I'll just say all day. Did everybody write in their journal? I don't know, because it's live. This plaque, you don't have to read it, but I got to tell you something. David has his journal up. I got to tell you something. This plaque, I didn't know I was going. And now I want to talk to your creative space, because this is the opening ceremony. I just want to get your juice going about your words and your vocals, because that's what I'm about. That's what the show is about. So what are your words that you use a lot? What are the ones that you just say it over and over? What are your isms? And they can just be basic words, but they mean something to you. And everybody around you go, oh yeah, there's that Rhonda. She's doing that again. So those are your isms. But what do they mean to you? Why do you keep saying them? Is it just a habit? I bet not. So what happened was, I'm going to talk to your creative space here. And I want you to open up your creative space, your path that is not so straight and narrow like what I was talking about. As a CPA, I was like, this is the way it goes. This is the only way it goes. Don't talk too much because you may look dumb. So be very quiet and be strategic on what you're saying. In this space, I want you to open up your path so it's bigger. It's not a stay in your lane. This is the way it is. And if you feel differently, add a comment. But it is open, and you can look right and left. Everything. And I'm going to add trees to your path, because your path can be out at the beach, whatever your path looks like. And you're going to see that there's low-hanging fruit. Now, it might not be real fruit. Maybe there's somebody dangling there that's dancing around, and that's a current client that you need to help them a little bit more. Or there's a person over here that's a potential client that keeps knocking on your door. I have people that said, for a year now, I've been trying to connect with you because I've been wanting to work with you. I'm like, how did I miss that? Because I was not connected with my income at that time. So on your trees, your low-hanging fruit is what you get to discover. But it might be a fruit. I love me some apple, and I love me some orange, and eat that up. But the low-hanging fruit is everything out there that is ready for you right now. That's where the inspiration is. That's where there's more. So you'll never I'm talking to entrepreneurs out there for a moment, that there's never sales anymore. It's really about having fun, and people will just be infectiously in love with you because that's your person, somebody that feels safe with you. And my safety right here is a pillar that I go, we need to have all 5 of these. And again, you may not be able to see this. It's okay. I'm going to get this to you because I'll be speaking about this. But we need all these to get to safety. So safety may not happen right away. You go, here, I want to feel safe. And it's like, well, there's some steps here. Or you just came in and you just did all your work, your meditation. You went out and talked to nature, and you did your, whatever you need to do, your workout or whatever. And you feel safe right now. And you're like, I'm at my peak now. But if you think about this, that's the ego setting in, because there's always more. There's always more safety that you can bring in, because there's something stopping you from where you are now to what you see. So think about that. You will always be in the gap, no matter what, because we're so creative. Let's go into the creative spot here for you. You're always so creative. There's no freaking way you're going to make your goal. I mean, if you write it down and you follow it exactly, then you will. But you're going to be meeting a lot of goals that you never realized that you wanted to meet, because it quantum leaped you into places you thought you would never, ever go. Never, ever go. And you realize that your to-do list, your task list, and your stringent and your straight path here, it's not going to get you to where you really want to get to. Well, it could, but it's only going to keep you earthly bound to where you can only see what you can see. Let go and allow yourself to feel safer. So now my brain's out of there because it's like, here, that's exactly what I think what I just said. I just thought that's what I think. I do my task list. I feel so good. I'm done with the day. My body hurts. I did a great job. What about if you go, here, wait, my body hurts. Okay, that's going to keep me on my straight and narrow path because the next you have to wake up and I'll be in fear because I'm in more fear because my pains in my body's even higher because I'm getting older, and older means that you have more aches and pains, and it means you're heavier. That means I'm going to have a knee replacement because that happened to so and so in my family. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have diabetes because so and so in my family passed away from that. It's just going to happen, and you see where that chaos goes. If you let it go and open it up, you're going to recognize something that you can see the low-hanging fruit, but you never thought it was available for you. So take a deep breath and look around. I see a flute, I see a wall, but no, look around on your path. What is there? Maybe you want to close your eyes for a moment and just give yourself a check-in. What do you see? What do you see? I see some sexiness, which is that internal fire energy. I see freedom, safety, and healing. Freedom, safety, and healing. I want freedom in my body. I don't want diabetes. Well, so-and-so in my family had it. Well, open your path. You can see more. Your brain will never shut everything down and say, I know more than that person. I should be doing this. I'm competitive because that's what's cool. But you go, I want to see the beauty in me to know more about what I can do. See how the creativity starts happening here. Because to make change for yourself and to create change and to love change, even though it's painful, and it should be, because that wakes you up. That's why your brain is saying, stay here. And you're like, why? Why am I staying right here? Well, because it's safe. Oh, yeah, okay. But then I'm not getting anywhere. The pain is on the other side. And you go, you're darn right it is. But if you create freedom, safety, and healing, which is the top right here, it'll be okay. You'll know the people to ask to get support from. And maybe at first it may just be you and talking to yourself. Adventure, get out there, get a coach. There's therapy out there. Do what you need to do. Now, why I keep showing this plaque is I'm going to actually tell you all the words, which are just like basic words, but they mean something to me. I want to know what your words mean to you. The way that this plaque was created, there's two more. I have 3 plaques that build upon each other, and I didn't create this through my head. I didn't know what I was doing. I just said, here, wait, I need to run my business a little differently because I'm holding myself into that strong path. This is where you are. Keep working. Do a sales funnel. Meet people. Hello. Do this. And like all that kind of stuff. And I said, what if I trust myself? Because I'm becoming a deeper spiritual being because I haven't been on medicine for 9 years. And I freaking better connect with my body because I'll be on medicine if I play that game of cerebral and I don't get into here to calm my nervous system. So my nervous system connects with my 74 trillion cells in my body, the million that I get to receive every day in birth, the choices I get to make in food and mindset, because mindset will tear us down if we don't have a purpose. Keep that creativity. Keep that creativity opening up for you. Keep that opening up right here. I'm just reminding you. So what happened is our brain works bum, 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 bum. So I started hearing these words. And so people would interview me or I was doing my show and I'd say, we need freedom, safety, and healing. Now this is serving you, audience, in the way of what are your words? Where you're not opening up your vocals. What do you usually say? Write it down, because those words, you may want to do your own plaque. And so, and I'll tell you what I do with this plaque, which is very interesting. It's amazing what happens. So my office is connected with the Fresh Inspiration Ranch where we are right now. Well, I live on the Fresh Inspiration Ranch. So every time I wake up, I go, no way, I put my feet on this Fresh Inspiration Ranch. I get to have inspiration today. You better effing believe I do. And it's all created so that I live in that inspiration. So think of something in your life that just, it brings an inspiration. Write it down. Why not? Write it down. And so then I just said, okay, let everything go. Okay, I always say freedom, safety, and healing, but I'm tired of saying that. And so I let go a little more. All of a sudden, every time I'd walk through my studio door, just walk through because it's part of the hallway of the house, I would hear these three words. First one, fabulous, raw, you got this. Well, okay, a phrase, 2 words. Write it down, Rhonda. Okay. Next day, vulnerability, empathy, impact. Well, what the heck does that mean? Write it down, Rhonda. Okay. Did that. Got 3 plaques of it. Now, what's crazy is I use this as a tool. So when I'm working with somebody and they're having a problem, they don't feel very safe. They're stressed out. Something majorly has happened with them. They lost a big major part of their income and they're very scared. And I just go, this is great. We get to play, because I start seeing money as a frequency. This is where we get to look at those low-hanging fruits. We get to be quiet, find inspiration, because we need inspiration every day. If you have a job, that doesn't always mean it's secure. If you have a business, it doesn't always mean it's secure, but most people think it's actually not a secure thing. But when you start opening yourself up, you realize that you get to be creative every day, but you got to get there. You got to be creative every day, because in that space, it's not, I have to do this. It's that the safety is me opening my heart and knowing that I get to do whatever I want. Yeah, maybe go take a nap for about, 10 minutes. But it's really about, yes, rest your body, make sure your mind is just in pure as much as it can be connected coherently with the heart. Because when the mind partners with the heart, we have 40,000 neurons in our heart that works like a brain. So if we understand a little bit of this, we know that something happened here. What happened in your life where you created something that you're like, here, wait, I can pull that off the shelf and I can use this. So let me tell you how I use this even deeper. Okay, so somebody's dealing with some safety issues. So I'll say, okay, this is my first word. I go, okay, so and they may not even know I'm working on this. And I don't even know what the words are going to mean to me at this point, because at this point, I know these words are going to mean something in this conversation. Now, I didn't know that I was making a column of safety when I was going through each column. So you're feeling very raw today. Let me hear what's going on. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's bring some safety into your day. So we talk about that. What are some of the triggers you're getting? Okay, so we got that on the table. Okay, so I got your back. Okay, let's go. Then I bring in, and I want them to have empathy for themselves, because when you're feeling something big, which is the next word, you want to come back and you want to turn into yourself and say, hey, you got this. And I started thinking, I had a paper route when I was in kindergarten. I used to, mow lawns. I waited for 10 years. And I started bringing in all these accolades. And let's not call it accolades. Let's call it life experience. Then all of a sudden, everything comes like, here, I'm not a newbie today. I may be cutting myself up thinking this is all that I have right now. No, I have all those life experiences. Empathy, let's bring it in, because you got this. Okay, so then love you. Holy moly, I have to love myself? You better believe it, because you're just beating yourself up before we came here together. So let's meditate. Let's do something that's going to bring you into, and it depends on what client it is. Some clients really love meditation. So I'll take a moment for meditation, or I'll do a kind of a motivational sing them kind of a thing, but in truth, not talking at them. Authentic. How can you go out there and be authentic when you're feeling all this pain? Let's get into this so that you really feel like a whole person. Authentic is that next word. Heart, keep your heart open. Let's make sure your heart feels safe, because when you're in your heart, because the next word is safety. So when you're in your heart, you can hear and see people. You get to be intuitive with how you're feeling, so you don't accidentally say something that you're like, oh, I wish I didn't say that. But the brain, if you hold it here just in the brain, your brain's just going to be all at you, just talking to you. But when your heart, which is right below the safety, you can hear, you can breathe, you can feel authentic, you can love yourself, you get appreciation for every experience you have. There's nothing that is bad, at least for that moment, because this takes practice. So, isn't this fun? Isn't this fun? I mean, my goodness. So that's what was created when I believed in myself. Where are you in believing in yourself? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay, so did you have fun? Okay, so that was the opening ceremony for you. What I'm trying to do is get you to feel where you are. We got your back. And I'm going to be bringing up David Alimian. And but I want to do, a nice little opening for him. But I'm going to bring him in, and he loves talking about talent in your business. Have you ever had, even if you are a small business, because you may think, I said, even though you may think that you have to have this big, robust business, but sometimes, you have somebody in your life that is taking care of maybe the marketing, or maybe just the admin stuff, or whatever they're doing. But David's all about bringing people together and really investing. And he's talking dollars, but when you have a small business, it could also mean, listen to him, because it could mean a variety of ways to invest. For me, I haven't heard David speak before, but I was looking at his website. We talked, we're in the same speaker group, and it costs money to be in this group, and it's a very special group. It brings special people in together. And so when you're looking, think about money, because it takes a while to get somebody up and running when they're helping you in your business. And how do you want to be able to see them eye to eye to really understand this is the right person? Not just like, oh, so and so said you were good, and you're like, I trust that person, but it may not fit what you are looking for. So you get to really get to know somebody by really understanding there's a commitment on both sides. David comes in and works with companies where it's a money investment, and that you're holding your talent. So no matter what level you are in your business, or if you are somebody who has an assistant, or, and you're working for somebody, we usually end up getting people that are entrepreneurs that watch the show, but I have a big variety of people that I just love on. So who knows who's here today? So, let me share David for you, so you know more about him. But I hope, if you're just coming in now, welcome in. The opening ceremony is a way to just kind of open you up, just kind of to burst that bubble, because that bubble has been keeping you safe too long. Let's keep that space open. Keep your journal and your pen close. So David's into revolutionizing talent retention and recruitment. We want to keep those people close that are taking care of us. We want to be able to see them eye to eye. They're going to be there for us. So he is known how to drive expertise success. Everybody here is an expert in something. I want to feel successful. It's actually one of my words on my pillars, now that you know what my pillar is. But he's recognized authority in the field of talent recruitment and retention with a relentless passion. That man does have passion. David, I've been enjoying getting to know you. David's like, I don't know if you called me. Maybe, yeah. David called me, email, LinkedIn. He's like, oh, and I love seeing everybody all over the place connecting with me, or telling me that they were doing the show, or, like, Rhonda, how's it going? This is what I'm up to, and trying to, get everything right. So we've had some really fun times getting this show up and going for you. So he's passionate for helping employers secure and retain top talent in today's fiercely competitive labor market. Alemian offers an innovative approach that addresses the pressing issues of skilled labor shortages nationwide. I love that, David. And that is actually when you're ready to book a call, that's what it says there, right in that paragraph. Book a call. All right, David, welcome in. Alemian, did I say that right?
You said that absolutely perfectly. Thank you, Rhonda. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You go, my friend. And what I just want to share is that I'm here for you. So I may just butt in a little. I'm very nosy, so I may just butt in a little bit. But I just want you to know that I'll ask you questions, or you can kind of cruise, and I'll ask you some more. But I do want to ask you more about you. You have this passion and this drive. What gets you there? What's some of the skills that you have that you were probably born with this, but I mean, really, to do what you do, there has to be something you do, maybe some rituals, or tell me about you, David.
I'm excited. I spent 29 years in the retirement planning business. That's a long time. And you know what I found out? Most people are not prepared for retirement. And this is like whether you're making 50,000 a year, 60,000, which is around the average income in America, or if you're making $500,000 or more. Most people live a lifestyle equivalent to their income. The more they make, the more they spend. And there's a shortage of talent out there. Now, here's something. Let me back up a little bit, because you really touched on some great things, Rhonda. As entrepreneurs, and if we have entrepreneurs listening, whether you have one employee or 1,000 employees, they're your team. We can't do everything ourselves. We need other people. So when you talk about mindset, a lot of entrepreneurs, they look at somebody and say, well, okay, they're good. What can they do for me? Whenever you do anything, your brain somewhere says, what's in it for me? Right? If somebody invites you to an event, before you decide to go, it's like, well, what's in it for me if I go to that event? Right? Or what's in it? What happens if I don't go to that event? What's in it for me if I stay home? Maybe I'll lose the opportunities that I could get at that event. So one question I always love to ask is, what if? And here's why I like that question. Because when you ask what if, the next thing that comes out of your mouth or goes through your mind could be anything. Literally, it could be anything. And one thing, you talk about mindset. Mindset can be everything. Now, most people have a short-term mindset, which is why they lose. Because if you think short-term, you get short-term results, which usually aren't very good. My suggestion is to think long-term, right? Okay, like for example, you're a kid and you want to go to college someday. And so what are you doing? You're thinking long term, all the way through 12 years of school, and what you have to do to get to the college that you want to go to, and why do you want to go to that college, university, et cetera. So you can go out and maybe build a business or get a job or do something. Again, you're thinking long term. But then they get out into the workforce, or they're building their own business. And what are they looking at? They're looking at today. They're looking at next week, or they're looking at next year. And next year is short term still. What if you thought long term, right? Now, backing up to retention. There's a shortage of people with skills in the world. There aren't enough people with skills to go around and meet the demand. And this shortage, it's not going away in our lifetime. Why? Because it's a matter of the size of the generations. For example, the baby boomers, which I'm one of them. They were the biggest generation. In the 50s and 60s, they swelled the population. In the 70s and 80s, they flooded the workforce. The subsequent generations were smaller in size. Now, as I said, they flooded the workforce, right? Okay. Well, around the year 2000, the baby boomers started to retire. And today, 10,000 people a day turn age 65. And we don't have 10,000 replacements. In the meantime, out in the economy, there's more entrepreneurs than ever starting businesses. There's more entrepreneurs. We need more people, people with skills. So, as bad as the shortage of talent is, it's only going to continue to get worse because the demand and the need for them is getting bigger. So what's happening? Let's say you have employees. I don't care, like I said, whether it's one employee or 1,000 employees. They are hopping from job to job. Why? Because there's other businesses that need bodies to fill the positions. They're throwing money at them, signing bonuses, you name it, they're sending it to them, and people go hop, job. See, years ago, people spent their entire career at one, maybe two companies. Why? Because they thought long term. They wanted that lifetime pension, and they would stay with the company for as long as it took to get it. Along came 1978. Congress, you know, those geniuses in Washington, they figured, oh, well, Americans need to be saving more of their own money. You know, they got their pensions, they got their Social Security, but that's a two-legged stool. We need a three-legged stool. So we're going to give them an incentive, to a tax incentive to save more money. They called it the 401k. And then along came other iterations of that thing. Well, that was 1978. By the early 80s, the 401k was the fastest growing retirement plan in America. You see, Wall Street, they saw an opportunity. And they said to the employers, they said, get rid of those pensions and give them this 401k thing. You won't have to. And the employer said, wow, this is great. We don't have to fund these pensions anymore. And the employees, they said, wow, this is great. We don't have to stay at one company like our parents did. If we don't like the company or the job or whatever, we can go someplace else and take our retirement plan with us. Here we are almost 50 years later, and almost no one can afford to retire. And turnover, people hopping from job to job, skyrocketing to become the biggest hidden expense that a company has. Do you know what it costs to replace somebody with skills? It's more than double their salary. According to the Department of Labor, it's 213% of salary, to be precise. That means somebody earning $100,000, it costs $213,000 to replace that person. Somebody earning $250,000, and it's a ton of them in the professions, it costs $535,500 to replace that person. Ouch! And the average U.S. worker changes jobs every 4.1 years. Again, another Department of Labor statistic. And they know why? Because they get the Social Security numbers for the tax information. You know, in the C-suite, it's a little longer, between 5 and 6 years. Did you know that this year, 1 in 5 hospital CEOs will change jobs? Man, talk about a skill set. A CEO of a hospital needs to have his or her finger on the pulse of everything going on in that place. That is not a skill set that grows on trees. Do you know what that costs to replace that person? And that's our healthcare system. Wow. Okay. So what do I do? Why am I so excited? Because I've cracked the code. I can solve both problems. I can solve the talent retention problem, because you have to stop the bleeding. In other words, you have to stop people from leaving, right? And just because you have something that attracts people doesn't mean they're going to stay. You give somebody a signing bonus, that's transactional, because now they get the money, they spent it. Okay, what's keeping me from leaving? Nothing. The other solution problem that I solve is the problem of saving for retirement. You see, I create something called a supplemental employee retirement plan. The employer pays for 100%. Cost the employee is zero. Why? Because they're spending all their money on lifestyle. And you know something? Lifestyle, it's like a drug. Once you have it, you don't want to give it up. And in order for them, the employees, to save more money for their future, which they're not doing, they'd have to do what? I'd have to give up some lifestyle. And nobody wants to give up lifestyle. So, this supplemental employee retirement plan the employer pays for gives the benefit to the employee in the future. The employer maintains ownership. Oh, watch this. Remember I said, what if? What if you could turn your biggest expense into a growing and compounding asset on your company's books? Wow. That's a seemingly impossible problem, but it's real and it's solved. So we create the supplemental employee retirement plan and we give it to the employee who's concerned about retirement. In exchange, because nothing's free and this isn't a fairy tale, the employee agrees to stay with the company for a certain period of time. Could be 5 years, could be till retirement, could be anything in between. If the employee leaves and doesn't fulfill their obligation, they forfeit the benefit. There are many other things built into this thing. I don't want to get too far into the weeds. But in every scenario, no matter what happens, the employer always recovers their investment in full. No matter what happens, the employee could quit, could become disabled. The employee is, by the way, protected in this plan. The employee could drop dead in mid-career. Not everybody gets to live to a ripe old age. There's even something in there to protect the family and the employer's investment. What if it's a happy ending? The employee stays until retirement. And they collect, are you ready? A retirement income that can be equal to or greater than their working year's income. You see, here's the thing. Why are you in business if you're an entrepreneur? Because you want security, right? Well, if nothing's holding your employees to your company, you got no security in your business. We're going to tie them to your business. But at the end of the day, most Americans want a comfortable retirement. They want a 30 to 40 year vacation, right? And where do most of them end up today? Helping people in department stores because they ran out of money. Have you ever walked into a department store and a senior citizen is standing there? Do you think they want to be there? No. That hits you right in the heart when you think about it. Let me ask you another question. How many people out there know somebody that they retired, they had this big nest egg, and then a few years later they ran out of money? Oh man, what a horrible way. You work your whole life and you end up dead broke in your retirement years. Not a happy ending. What if you had a lifetime income that was equal to or greater than your working year's income? You couldn't spend it all. It's impossible because that's the way the thing is designed. Oh, one more thing. Even though the employee gets his lifetime income so that they can live the life of their dreams in their retirement years, which, remember, we're living longer, the employer still recovers their investment in full. At the end of the day, it costs the employer zero. Are we living longer? Sure. I had an aunt. She passed away a few years ago. She was 109. You want to know what the fastest growing age group in America is? Centenarians. People the age 100. Do you know there's another age group called super centenarians? People over the age of 110. Wow. So yeah. And will this plan that I put together for people do that? Yeah. Here's the coolest thing in the world. With this type of a plan, you get to tell the employee, hi, come on into my office for a minute. I want to sit down. I want to talk to you. We like you. We want you to stay. So if you stay with us, we're going to make an investment in you. And at the end of the day, you get this. You know something? Most people, not everybody, but most people would take that deal. Isn't that nice? So what happened? Now, let me give you one more little story. 2 hospitals, same city, same town, similar in size, similar everything. They're almost identical. One is a world-class organization. I mean, people come from all over to go to that hospital when they get sick. The other one, not so much. If you get sick, it's the last place you want to go. What's the difference? It's the people that work there. So, how do you build a world-class organization? You use this tool that I described to retain your best employees, your superstars, the people that you do not want to lose. Let the others fall by the wayside. I don't say fire them, just you don't give them this, and eventually they will go. Then you use this tool to pull in the best of the best that you can possibly find. And you hold them to your company, and they get whatever they want. In other words, they have a wonderful, bright financial future. Over time, do you know what you will have? I don't care what your business is. You could be a plumber. You could be an accounting firm. You could be a legal firm. You could be a carpentry firm. You could be a hospital. You will have a world-class organization. Why? Because of the people that are working there, and they're working to help you. Isn't that nice? And you? Oh my God. The biggest, brightest vision of your future will come true. Because you'll have the best of the best behind you and supporting you. That's what I do. That's why I'm so excited. You know, I get up every day at 4 a.m. I jump out of bed. I take a shower. I feed my puppy. And then I'm at my desk by 4:30. And I go full blast till 4 and 5 in the afternoon. I put in 12, 13 hours a day. You want to know something? It's like play. I'm having a blast. You know, on my next birthday, I'll be 70 years old. And you want to know something? I'm working harder and longer and faster than I ever have in my life. And guess what? I'm in better shape now than I was when I was in my 30s. You know, talk about living long. Oh, you too? Yes. Flown, yeah. I'm having so much fun. This is a blast. And you know something? You can too. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can make it come true. I mean, we started this off talking about mindset. Talk about long-term mindset.
We might have lost service.
What was that? That's okay. I'm just having fun here. Okay, so I had to take a deep breath there for a second. I just get so excited, so wrapped up in what I'm doing. I just, I'm having fun. I'm helping people like never before. I mean, it's so freaking amazing. I got clients that had no hope in their future. And today, they're set. They're happy. And these are some of these people, man, they got $700,000 incomes. And they're like, I just want to be able to pay my mortgage. It's like, wow. Uh-oh. Something happened there. Well, anyway. But it doesn't matter whether you have your small, tiny business. Hey, look at what's the big coffee company that everybody goes to? Starbucks. It's a coffee shop, and it's a multi-billion-dollar organization. Whatever it is you do, you can make it bigger and brighter than you ever wanted to do. Look, I want to help you. After this show, check out davidalemian.com. It's on the screen right now. And take a look at that. And if it's something that you're interested in, hey, book a call with me. We can have fun together. I'll show you some amazing things. What I love to do is get up there and speak at conferences where I can help business leaders solve their biggest problem, which is the shortage of skilled labor. It's not an unsolvable problem, it's a solvable problem. And it's fully scalable to whatever it is that you want to do. So, yeah, take a look at that that website there.
I got it
reach
for
out
you,
to me and
David.
say hi. I see that up there. Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, this is so incredible. Incredible in the way of all the information you were talking about. You know, what really got me is the detail in what you do for people, and my heart started growing in the sense of that employer and employee. I felt like there is a potential of a very big bond there, and I could
yes.
feel that, like, that is what your drive is and the stuff you're doing, and that to me, I wrote a note about that, and I love that you're gonna be 70 and that you are, because you're in your passion and what you're doing, and I can hear that you were saying that, you're in better shape than you were at 30, but it's just like that motivation that we were talking about.
Mhm. You're absolutely correct. It's
Yeah,
and again, it's mindset.
yeah,
And when you think mindset, all of a sudden, that massive computer that's between your ears,
yeah,
it starts solving the problems for you. And you raise your frequency
yeah,
to amazing heights.
yeah,
And you know something? Anybody can do it.
yeah.
And if you're watching this, you can do this too. And I want to help you do it if I can. And it's
I
real,
love it.
yeah, you know, real simple thing. Olympic athletes think like Olympic athletes. Couch potatoes, they think differently.
Yeah,
Whatever you
true.
want, it's all in how you're thinking.
Yeah,
But it starts with long-term thinking. In other words, I'm here. I want to get there. Think even further down the road
mhm.
because life's a journey. And wherever it is you want it to take you, that's where it'll take you.
David, have you ever had in your life where you were a couch potato for a moment and you had to pull yourself out of it, like any kind of depression or something that just really just
Oh, what a question. You know, at one point in time, when I was in high school, I was a gymnast. Then
Hmm,
afterwards, I didn't do much. And then later on, I got into working out and I was doing high impact aerobics and weightlifting. And I did that for 2 years, 5 days a week. And then one day I just stopped and I didn't work out for 28 years. And
wow.
then 10 years ago, my wife says to me on New Year's, she says, I want to join this thing. It's a training camp, boot camp, because I want to lose 20 pounds. I go, honey, you don't need to lose 20 pounds, but I get it. If it makes you feel better about yourself, hey, I'll be the supportive husband. And here's what I'll do. I'll stop eating burgers and fries twice a day. And I was. And I go, what the heck? I'll even find a place to work out too. As the words came out of my mouth, I wanted to put them back in my
Yeah,
mouth.
kind
It's
of
like,
scary, huh?
oh man, what did I say? So I live in Oceanside, California, and kind of near the beach. And I found this workout class called Beach Boot Camp. Oh, that looks like fun. So I wanted to go, and it took me 4 days to psych myself up to go. My wife says, you were really nervous about this, aren't you? I go, they don't call it boot camp for nothing. I don't want to get hurt. I showed up, and the trainer, a woman, says, so what are your goals for today? I go, not to die. She figured she'd never see me again. I had so much fun. I showed up the
Oh,
next day, and I gave her a check for unlimited boot camps for the week, and I go, you're stuck with me. And I still go. And I went for 5 and 6 days a week. And man, it's mostly women. Whoever said women are the weaker sex, did not
Yeah.
know
Ooh.
what they were talking about.
Woo!
Man, are these people great. And I just got into amazing shape. And the secret was I was surrounded by other people
Yeah.
that had a mindset of fitness.
Mm.
And it was fun. In other words, it was kind of
Mm.
like you go and you show up at the playground and you play with whoever shows up. And that
Yeah.
was boot camp. I was right on the beach. And it was just so much fun year
Oh
round.
my gosh, Dave, you're just building this feeling like I want to be at the beach right now working out. I mean, like,
Oh,
I mean, it's just very, very exciting. So I can see you being going towards 70 in the infectious space that you're in right now. I appreciate your time with us today.
let me wrap this up. One thing. If you
Okay.
want to see what it's really like, go on YouTube, put my name in it, and after my name, put Because I Can. Go David Alemian, Because I Can. You'll see a video that'll blow your mind.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll see a video that'll blow your mind. Me working out on the beach, doing
Yay.
one-arm push-ups, Rocky style. How
Oh,
cool is that? So
that is
anyway,
so cool.
yeah. And the last thing I want to say is,
Yes.
if what I said made sense, and you're an entrepreneur and you want to secure your business, go to davidalemian.com, book a call.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. I love your energy. I appreciate you so much. It's been really fun working with you, getting you prepped for the show today. Thank you, my
Thank you,
friend.
Rhonda. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Cheers, my friend. Woohoo! All right. So I'm going to ask Sloan if I'm saying her name right now too, because Sloan really, is that right?
Very close. Reali.
Ooh, really.
Reali.
It's like sexy to me, and sexy to me is on one of my pillars that's about freedom. So yeah. And so I want to share the screen real quick here too, because I should have done it for David's intro too, because I mean, look at this beautiful picture that we with Sloan in this beautiful blue dress. Oh, it's so beautiful, Sloan.
my signature colors.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Sloan Really. Actually, I'm gonna keep playing with that. Expert voice and confidence coach. Oh, another person. Yes, that's all about the vocals, huh? Confidence breeds success, and success breeds confidence. When it comes to professional leadership, being a confident and powerful communicator is key. And that starts with your voice. Whether it's on Zoom, live presentations, or management meetings, professionals in any field who can speak with confidence and control have the edge. For over 20 years, Sloan has been helping not just singers, but public speakers, teachers, therapists, doctors, and authors to prepare vocally in their professions. She has been featured on television and radio as an expert in the power of voice and has worked with clients to prepare for auditions, including American Idol. The Voice is one of my favorite ones. They used to make me cry all the time. Glee, another one, and Disney. Over the 10 years, Sloan's work has evolved far beyond helping singers and industry leaders. She has gained recognition in the medical community for her work with students who come to her after an illness or injury has affected their vocal ability, including cancer survivors, people recovering from strokes, and patients diagnosed with VCD, vocal cord dysfunction. Whether she's working with someone who wants to sing, become a better communicator, or trying to recover their voice for a medical setback, Sloan is a true innovator when it comes to finding our voice, building confidence, and unblocking your potential. Welcome in, Sloan Reality.
Woo, woo. Thank you so
Woo.
much. Thank you for that introduction. The picture never popped up. I just had a spinning wheel.
Oh, darn! Maybe nobody got to see it. Darn it!
That's okay. First of all, thank you again, Rhonda, for organizing and making this platform available to the rest of the world. You were a wonderful start to our day, my friend. Everything that you just said about aging and the population and longevity. I mean, I'm looking at those numbers. I'm in the boomer range, and I love that you said that you are in better shape today than you were, 20, 30 years ago. I am the same, and a little bit of my story that I will share is the work that I do is the result of me healing myself of childhood illnesses through breath work. So I don't know if that's where we want to dive in. Do you have some questions for me, Rhonda? Do you,
Well,
where do
Sloan,
we start? There's so
you
much,
can,
so much.
yes. Well, okay, so what you're talking about here is just amazing stuff. When we started off the show, it was just about like being innovative, being curious about things. In your background, you have done such a variety of things, really sharing with your expertise as a vocalist. How Tell me the experience of the creativity that really keeps you open to being able to explore all different areas to work in. There's something special about you and your life and what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I would like to take credit for my journey, but the journey made me. What I do today with clients has changed so much from when I started the business. 25 years now. 25 years and my life is still no. It's so good. When I started the vocal coaching business 25 years ago, it was just really, here's the truth. It was to pay for I was in a band. It was to pay for my hair, my makeup, my wardrobe, getting on stages to do my thing. And then what happened is I started getting clients coming to me with these things I'd never seen before. I started getting literal prescriptions from doctors, ear, nose, throat specialists, speech therapists, doctors starting writing prescriptions for their client to go get vocal coaching. And I started all the things that you heard, recovering from strokes, vocal cord dysfunction. It's a thing that mimics asthma when you go to inhale and everything stops. And so, I mean, I've had the stories are crazy. The website, I've got testimonials of people that have had their vocal cords clipped accidentally in surgeries. When people have come to me, I haven't always been fully confident that I could help them. So that's the caveat. It's like, I'm not sure if this will help. Let's do what I've been doing successfully all these years and see if it makes any difference. And 100% effective result every single time. I mean, literally within 1 hour, in less than an hour, clients come in with their concerns, their goals, what they want to do with their voice. And when we start doing the work, right, this is more the physical work, the physiology of what I do. They are seeing, hearing, and feeling results in that very first session. The feedback that I get are things like, wow, this feels so good. Oh my gosh, my body I haven't felt this good in so long. This is really fun. I can't believe I'm having so much fun. Because the most common thing I hear people coming in is, I hate the sound of my voice. I hate the sound of my voice. I hate my voice on recordings. I'm terrified of standing up at the networking events. I don't know how to handle the microphone. I get so nervous when I get on stage. I completely forget my entire presentation. So, I'm working with the physiology first. So they're having that immediate adrenaline, right? That oxytocin, that feel good hormone. So their body is feeling the result of the work. Then I take it over to the mindset, because that's a lot deeper, right? The mindset, the head, all of those old stories, a lot of childhood, so many I mean, I've got boxes of Kleenex in the studio. I'm not a therapist, friends. Anyone listening, the viewer, the listener, should you reach out and you want to work together at some point in the future, I'm not a therapist. What I do feels it's very therapeutic. It's very healing, but I'm not a therapist. And the stories I hear, I mean, well-meaning, parents, teachers, coaches, choir directors that have said very hurtful things to their children, or when we're young. You said this earlier, Rhonda, when we're starting out. Things happen. Things are said that as children, we take those in as being truth, and it goes deep. And then we go throughout I mean, I can't tell you how many, 50, 60, 70-year-olds have come to me. They all they ever wanted to sing, all their life they wanted to sing. And they come in to see me. They've never sang because the choir director told them, you can't sing, you should lip sync and turn the pages for the piano player, right? They come in to see me. It's like, oh no, that was a lie. It's not true. Tears. But think of all the years they missed. 30, 40, 50 years. They could have been doing something that brings them great joy that they didn't because some well-meaning or not adult who didn't know the first thing about singing, voice, breath work, frequency, right? Frequency is that's a whole nother podcast there.
Yeah.
And so, when you come back to the why, even as I'm sitting here, when I share these stories, my heart starts beating so fast. And it's not this heartbeat right now, what I'm feeling right now in my body is not one of happiness and enthusiasm. This is one of anger and frustration for all of the clients that I've served over the years, all of the people who are still questioning themselves because someone out there told them something that was a lie. It irritates me. It pisses me off. That's my why. That's
I love it.
Is why I do what I do.
Hey, Sloan, I want to add something here of even more kudos than what you actually just about 5 minutes ago. If I could take a step back and talk about that, but I love recognizing what you just said about the anger and frustration because you're with people. I mean, I was so shut down when I was younger, and I thought that that my voice and what I was doing, that it was just an embarrassment because, I'd have this pointing and laughing at me and telling me I was dumb because I liked something different than what this other person liked and stuff. So that's such shutting down, and you get to help people breathe into what's really happening in their journey, not the stuff that's been, around them, but authentically what they were born here to be able to feel. And so I love that you're talking about feeling what you're feeling about that. But Sloan, you brought up an interesting point here, and I just want you to go right after I say this. I don't want you to feel like I'm going to be, jumping in every moment here, but
good. It's all good.
I want to give you a lot of love today because when we start talking and comparing ourselves with, I'm not a therapist, this is what I do, is that I think there's an accident that happens. And sometimes it's because we can actually get shut down through media or Google if we start talking like this. But I got to tell you, my friend, what you're doing is you're working with people through the heart. And so to even feel like I'm even comparing myself to a therapist, there's just so much different space there that doesn't even come into our sphere of what you're doing for people. When we look at all the stuff that you've done, people get to learn about their heart and be able to crack that open. And to release stuff, you have to really feel that emotion and feel safe in the space. And I feel nothing but love when you're talking, like your heart and the way that you speak. And it's probably because you're a vocal coach, but also you've learned to connect your heart deeply for what you do. So I want to give you kudos in that because you are a very powerful person when it comes to opening people's vocals, that I wanted to say, let's move that, that aside about, I'm not a therapist, because I just want to move that out of the screen because you're doing incredible work. And to be able to help somebody feel something and transform themselves, you didn't do it through talk therapy, but you did it where people got to feel safe and be seen and heard. So I want to throw that out and tell you I appreciate you, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And that being seen and heard and valued, just a little backstory for you. I was very sick as a child. I had my first asthma attack at 6 months old, and I was hospitalized for the first 12 years of my life. A lot of upper respiratory. I would get colds that would turn to bronchitis that would land me in the hospital with pneumonia. every single year. A lot of trauma, a lot of family, domestic violence. It was just a lot. It was a shit show growing. I lived in fight or flight a good part of my life. Did not have a voice. I was not seen. I was not heard. I was not valued. I was in trouble all the time because I just, my report cards, I would always, I was like a B average student, but the teacher comments were always every single, Sloan talks too much, right? I'm just like crying out, please, somebody see me, value me. I have something important to say. So, funny story, I didn't even make it into the jazz choir in high school. My sister did, but I didn't. So the singing thing really, it came, I thought it was like as an accident, but it really wasn't. I tell you what happened as a child, because I hated the medication. They would fill you up with steroids, and I'd get, a lot of prednisone, and it would just amp my whole system out. So
Wow.
I literally taught myself, this is where my healing comes in. As early as, I want to say 9 or 10 years old, I was teaching myself, I had taught myself, I had no idea what I'm doing, but it was more painful for me to be medicated and hospitalized than for me to stop and slow my breath in my body and prevent me having an asthma attack. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm a kid. I just know that it must have been my intuitive, my more divine higher self, because our body knows how to heal, friends. Like we know how to heal. We know how to be healthy. The epigenetics, the DNA, we are powerful, powerful human beings. So I was doing breath work, calming, centering, calming my nervous system, calming down my parasympathetic nervous system, all of these systems as a child. Now, fast forward, even 10 years as a vocal coach, it's just very methodical. It's just, these are the practical steps, and how to use your voice fully and how to get in your body and project and all that. I'm still not connecting the dots that I'm doing energy work. I'm doing energy work as a child without even realizing it. Fast forward now, you talk about heart center. Yes, a lot of the work I do, yes, it's physical. Yes, it's mindset. It's connecting mental to physical, but the deeper work in all of that, which I can't always share with clients. I've had some really conservative Christian clients come through like, yeah, this is a little too woo woo. You start talking energy centers and chakras. So I got to be careful, what I share with who. I'm always doing that work, although I'm not always sharing exactly what's going on, because I'm about results, right? If you're coming to me for voice work, I just want you to get the best results, the most results in the quickest amount of time. If you want to have that conversation about energy work, you're absolutely correct. That fourth energy center, I see all my nodding heads. I see my healing people in the room. Absolutely. That fourth energy center is the bridge that bridges the lower 1 through 3 to your 5, 6, 7, and there's more beyond. That heart center is that lung. This is where we carry loss. This is where we carry grief. If I have clients coming in, for an example, is if someone has not processed loss and grief, this is all constricted and tied up. I'm going to have them doing songs in the key of F. F is the key. If you're on a keyboard or playing on a guitar, that frequency that goes with that key, that hertz of sound is what breaks this down and opens this up, so we can have freedom. You talk about your words, Rhonda. My words are freedom, nature, and connection. These are my 3 words that I live by every single day. Connecting, freedom of choice, connecting, creating community. So I don't know where I was going with that, other than what I do with voice is so much more than just vocal work.
Yeah, I hear it, my friend.
And more recently, I've been doing a deep dive with Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Me too.
Right? Becoming superhuman.
Yeah.
Amazing. He talks about heart math and coherent breathing.
Mhm.
I use that little device with my clients. Literally, this thing, you hook it on your ear. It can measure your heart rate variability, your respiratory rate. Look at Stephanie, Yep, everybody's nodding their head. So if you are not, you the viewer, listener, if you are not familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, please go check out his work. It is life-changing. We talked about goals earlier, the affirmations and visualization. He talks about mind mapping. And it's literally, it's not just affirmation and visualization. It is literally, getting that picture of your future self, being that picture, living in that picture. Even if it it doesn't make any sense to our mental brain. Our first brain is our stomach, as I understand, but this heart, it's more stomach, heart. This is like the last brain to really come into play. So I can't say enough about his work.
Sloan, it's all backed up with science too, which is incredible. We can talk woo, I mean, because we love woo, but that's incredible. So I love that you bring him up, because I just recently saw him and I was crying. I was like, "There's my dad."
Right.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. And his story, and we are so much more capable of so much more than we know. And for me, I've not been as active. I know we're running out of time. The other thing that made a huge change, and we've already talked a little bit about this today, is my business changed dramatically. It's changed a lot over the 25 years. It's morphed and I've pivoted. But I will tell you, I just had probably the most challenging couple of years in my business, just in generating revenue. I had changed my messaging a little bit. I had gotten away from serving the music and singing community. But what really shifted for me was learning my human design. And again, this is a whole nother chapter we can go into. I see the nodding heads. So in human design, this is the study of our DNA, our epigenetics. It's our based on our birth and our time and all of this interesting information. I learned that I'm what's called an ego projected projector. And projectors are very different from a manifesting generator. I spent my life living as a manifesting generator. They basically get shit done. Oh, is that okay they get stuff done.
I swore a couple times. I guess it might be okay. The host says it's fine.
And you were talking about it earlier, Rhonda, that masculine energy, having to be everything to everybody and get it all done. Okay, a lifetime, fight or flight, anxiety, thyroid issues, just complete adrenals completely burnt out. Well, I only learned a couple of years ago, I'm not supposed to be operating that way. I'm about having fun. My sun gate is 10, which is all about love. I'm not supposed to be doing all those things. I'm supposed to go in, have fun, get everybody engaged, and then go take a rest. And I will tell you, if you are listening to this and you are a projector in the future in the recordings, go learn about your human design, people, because it makes things so clear. Since I have backed off and stopped all the things, my business has gone through the roof. This third quarter was the best quarter for my business, revenue generating, that I've had in over 2 years.
Wow,
And
congratulations.
Thank you so much for that. What a game changer. And it's so weird because at first I'm like, well, if I don't do that, if I don't do all the marketing, if I don't show up at that event, what's going to happen? It's like, so it's been like a game. I've been playing this little game with myself. It's like, oh, let's see if this will work, right? It's mind blowing, between learning my design, the Joe Dispenza work, resting when I need to rest, taking a break. The thing I've been saying a lot of lately, thank you so much. I wish I could help with that. I just can't do that right now. I love that idea. I believe in what you're doing. Not today. Please, let's reach out after the holidays. So the power of no, friends. That no is a full sentence, and no is one of the best things that you can do for your own self-care.
Oh, Sloan, I love that. Can I ask you? I know you need to.
So much. So much.
Sloan, can I ask you to do a quick little exercise for us? You weren't expecting that, but I know you have to head out at 9:30. But do you have a moment for our community?
Absolutely. Quickest way to change your state, right here. Let's put one hand on your heart. Put your other hand on your solar plexus muscle that's right below your rib cage, above your belly button. When you breathe, you're not breathing like this, creating tension in your shoulders. Keep your shoulders relaxed, lots of space between your ears and your shoulders. Take that breath through your nose and mouth, past your lungs, down into your belly. So the hand on your belly moves forward as you inhale. And then as you exhale, your hand should go towards your spine as you exhale, emptying out your solar plexus. We're going to add, as you inhale, think to yourself the words I am on the inhale. As you exhale, think of something that starts with the letter A. Amazing, awesome. As you inhale one more time, breathe in, I am. Now exhale something that starts with the letter B. Blessed, beautiful, beyond. You get the exercise? Your inhale. If you do that 10 times, 10 words, this is actually a free gift on my website under free stuff. It's called the I Am Meditations. Comes with a PDF. I take my clients through this. They love this. This is great if you're feeling anxious, you have to have a difficult conversation, you're having trouble falling asleep. You can do it anywhere, all day. And that's just one of a million, but that's an instant way to change your frequency, to get you back in the planet, to get you back in your body. Stay calm, right? That makes sense. It got so quiet.
I love that. I was going to bring up your website. So your website you'd like them to go to is Vocal Coaching by Sloan. Is that where you want
Beautiful.
them to go?
That's a perfect place to go. And there's a lot there. If you head over to resources,
Mhm.
the resources and under Work with Sloan, those two tabs, there's articles, there's a podcast, the Find Your Voice, Rock Your Confidence podcast. There are free gifts there. It's just an incredible resource. And for anybody wanting to learn more, you can book a complimentary call. It's just a conversation to see what your issues are with your voice and to learn more. But the website is a really great place to go. Tons of resources. Take advantage of it. Go grab all the free stuff. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. The new year, there's going to be some things that are going to be moving around and some even more awesome free stuff. But this is my why. I'm here to help as many people on the planet with my remaining years, not just help you show you how to access your voice, because you all have a voice. You all have something very important to share. What you think might not be important, there is somebody waiting to hear from you. They're waiting to hear what you have to say. There's someone out there that you share their story with. Now I'm going to cry. So whoever you are, wherever you are, you all need to be accessing your voice. You need to be sharing your voice. You need to be being seen, being heard. Now, today, more than ever, don't let another day or year go by where you're like, oh gosh, I'd really like to do that thing. Or, I really wanted to do that, but I'm too old. BS. No, not too old. My oldest client is in her 80s, right? Never too old, never too late. If not now, then when, friends? If not today, then when?
Sloan, you're such on a roll.
I'm
Like
now.
bump, bump. Like we're just like rocking it, woman.
I need to go run around the block now a couple times before my next meeting. Oh my goodness.
Everybody's making my day here. This is so cool. This is what happens. And we have Dr. Susanna coming up too. I mean, this is just crazy. And we have Stephanie Catherine coming up too. I mean, it's just like, this is crazy. So I love it, woman. And I love vocals. Like, this is so cool. And I love that you talked about Dr. Dispenza and you're talking about the body by design. Is that what it's called?
Mind math. Oh, you're talking about human design.
Human design.
Yeah, that's a Roger
wow.
Ryan thing.
Yeah, I love that. And sorry for those 2 years of lull, but boy, you must have learned some good stuff there, because all of a sudden you're popping back up. So I mean, this is all the divine space.
Blew it open. Blew it off. You
All right,
all
my
so
friend.
amazing. I'm going to try to get back in here for the closing ceremonies.
Yes.
Continue this amazing conversation. Dr. Susan, I'm sorry I'm going to miss you, the rest of you ladies, but I hope to be back. And Rhonda, just thank you again, and thank you to all the guests that are here today, and you, the viewers, the listeners. This are like a wealth of knowledge. It's amazing. Go take advantage of all this great information you have access to through this
Oh,
show.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, my friend. We'll catch up with you soon. You'll find your way to how to exit out, which
I
I
think
hope
so.
you do. And
Yeah.
love you so much. Appreciate all the work that you are doing and just speaking about the stories. I love, like, sometimes when we are seeing people in pain, it's so easy to be angered and frustrated because because it's just going to flow through, like what Sloan was doing. She really got into that moment of feeling the pain that she sees people in, and then you see how it popped her back up, and then she was like revving it up. And I feel like this is how the show works. It's incredible because we're here just breathing in new ideas, visions. There's so many different angles. All of us are learning to be authentic. So everybody is unique in the way that we approach things. And that's what makes it so powerful. So we have Susanna Kurtz here, and I can't wait to hear her stuff. I'm such in love with all the speakers that we have here around. I call it Mindset Matters to Heart, but there's just so many angles and so many ways, spiritually and then business wise, and talking about employee retention for the employers, like all this stuff that's like, this is real life stuff. And if you're not real woo, we talk about Dr. Joe Dispenza, which a lot of this stuff is already proven out. So it's kind of cool to, just kind of get a little crazy and cool here. All right. So let me introduce Dr. Susanna Kurtz is a multi-passionate German scholar, creator, coach, and visionary. She's authored nonfiction books, book chapters, and articles in 3 languages. As a speaker, Susanna takes her audience on her spiritual journey of a skeptic to encourage and inspire anyone who is unhappy with the materialistic paradigm but does not have any special spiritual gifts. I had to take off my fan. I can hear my vocals are drying. After working for almost 20 years as a university researcher and teacher in the history of the Persianate culture in Iran, Middle Asia, and India, Susanna embarked on a new adventure. In her second life as a coach and hypnotist, Susanna has started to use trance states to channel parables and messages while also supporting clients who feel stuck and want to reconnect with their inner guidance of simply to help calmer and happier where they are. Susanna, I love this about the channeling. I've had spaces where somebody said somebody just passed away. I had this couple times. All of a sudden, I could just feel that they were here, and I was actually saying things because I work as much as I can in being an open vessel. So I love that you're doing this stuff. Her most exciting creative project is in the making is the high fantasy TV show's new series, Magician's Blood, that combines her unique experience and skills to form a vision for a brighter world embedded in the story of gripping adventure with the Viking star Ivan K in the lead. All her endeavors are connected by her passion for people and their stories and for breaking their limitations. So we'll talk more about how to connect with Susanna, but welcome in, my friend. I appreciate the intro that you have here. Yay!
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rhonda. Yeah, I mean, in your shout out for this amazing show, I think you also said something about the vision, and everyone here so far has talked about their vision that they have. So I thought I'd start with the vision, which is also quite prominent in the intro. So for me, essentially, from a pretty early age, my vision was to contribute to building brighter, more peaceful, hence also a happier world. And I started out as you already mentioned, in academia with that, because that was something that played to my strengths. And I was very happy with that for many years until I wasn't. But during the time I was in academia, I approached this by essentially working on understanding people, their thought worlds, their living worlds, and how they interpret, through culture, interpret the world they are in and give it meaning. And what was important for me was twofold. The one thing was to get a grasp of the range of options human beings have. That's one of the reasons why I went to another culture than my own and into history, so into another time also, to go pretty much as far away from where I am as possible to get a greater range of how human beings may be operating, to understand more of that. And I think that's actually important in a globalized world like ours, because I think we need to understand and accept that our personal perspectives that we have grown up with and that are self-evident for us are not the only possible perspectives on things in general, and that other perspectives are also logical and also have their right to be. And only if we can make our way to that realization and respect that, we can essentially work together worldwide and create something like world peace, if we want to go very far with it. So that was my first approach to it. And now the thing is, I have worked on the Islamicate culture. That means the culture that has been influenced by the religion of Islam, just like the Western culture has been influenced by Christianity. And I feel that currently the reputation of Islam and the Islamicate culture is not exactly that of a very tolerant culture. But if you look at the Middle Ages and early modern period, over a vast amount of years, a very vast time frame, the Islamicate culture actually operated in a much more tolerant way than the Christian culture, or the culture influenced and dominated by Christianity. And some of my former colleagues have put forward the observation that because it was fluctuating during those times too, that the culture and the people who essentially embodied the culture were most tolerant when they were most powerful and their society is most stable, so they were most safe. And now, if we think about that and try to learn something for our own world and time, then I would say that is something we could extrapolate and think. That's my conviction, my hypothesis at least, that happy people, or at least content people, people who feel safe and people who are well catered for and who are in a good economic position, so people who are safe and content, are peaceful people, because it's quite hard to be happy and hate someone else, or be happy and hurt someone else at the same time. So that means what we actually should be working towards as a collective, as humanity, is to make as many people as humanly possible as safe and as content and as happy as possible. So there may always be some people who won't be like that, but just to generate an environment where a vast majority of people can be like that, can feel like that, and are in situations like that. So what can I do for that? Well, what I can't do is personally lift, for example, economic problems or situations where people are in a war zone or something like that. But what I can do is to work on another level. Because obviously, as we know, there are people who have a lot of money and theoretically are in a great situation, and we might think they should feel safe and they should be content because they actually don't have really material worries like, how do I pay my rent next month? How do I put food on the table? How can I repair my car if it breaks down? And things like that. How can I make a living when I'm ill and can't work or something like that? So they don't have these worries, but some of them still aren't happy. So what does that mean? That means there's another level to it that we also need in order to feel safe, content, and happy. So yes, a certain level of material security must be covered. But even if that's the case, there's another level, and that's inside ourselves. That's what is in our heads and in our hearts. And that's where I thought I can do something about that. I can help people, support people in feeling happier, feeling calmer, feeling more secure inside themselves. Now, this is obviously a long journey that I've come myself. I've traveled quite a road. I'm also on the road, and we have also talked about, fun and joy and all that. And I'm on the road to getting back to those joyful days when I was a student and didn't have all the adult things to worry about. But yes, I can support people in their inner development, in their inner life, and in their inner relationship to themselves. And I think
can I ask a question? I love what you're talking about here. I'm loving learning about different cultures. Like this information to me is like amazing, listening to what you're talking about, and also about the safe, content, and happy and how you do that. Could we go deeper in there? Because I love this stuff about death and beyond and what you're really working in here. Can we go in that direction, what you're doing and what you're seeking and looking at death and beyond? This is amazing to me.
Yeah. Okay. So I have put up all these distracting things in my background, so you can see that I'm all over the place with all sorts of things. Yes. I would say a couple of things on the hypnosis and how what you can do with that, on the trance states, because you also can induce trance states yourself, obviously, and that leads over to things like those. Because for me personally, obviously, I've changed careers, and so that means I have a major break in my professional life, and that comes about when you have things also going on in your personal life and personal development. And for me, that's all combined with my spiritual development and these topics. And that's also something that trance states are important for me, which is obviously something I felt drawn to from early on without knowing that. But I realized when I learned hypnosis that I've actually always loved to be in trance states, like in the car, when other people are driving, and things like that. And I think that's also, I think a lot of little children stop crying and easily fall asleep when the car drives at a certain speed. And that was also the case with me when I was little. But that's also the case with me as an adult, because I don't cry usually, but I start feeling calm and relaxed and happy and warm and all that inside. Because
Oh, yeah, Susanne, I fall asleep. And my husband's like, hello, why are you falling asleep over there? You're supposed to be entertaining me.
Yeah, and essentially that's what I think is, I mean, you can do things like deprogram your mind and reprogram your mind, your subconscious mind and all that with hypnosis. But the real magic and the real power, in my opinion, is that you can explore yourself and you can connect with your own inner guidance system and your inner power, which is the thing you set me up for this talk. For me personally, the other things I've quite recently started doing, like the channeling of these stories and also channeling of messages now, and this level, that's also come with the ability to more easily and in a more controlled manner put myself into a light trance state. It's not a deep trance state. I'm not unconscious of what's happening. I'm completely in control, but it's a light trance state. Now, the death and beyond is something that leads up to, that's my podcast, by the way. It's on YouTube as a video series. It's on Spotify and other platforms as a podcast. And that is something that leads up to this development, where I find my way from a very, very brain-centered work life and essentially way of approaching the world to getting more into an intuitive approach that also involves these trance states, which are a shortcut for people who are a little bit brainy and don't have it so easy to, to get intuitive. And for me, that was something I did very consciously, because I realized at a certain point when I was in my change of career, in the middle of it, so to speak, or at the point where I was realizing that I didn't want to go on farther on the path I was on. Mm-hmm. I realized that I had lost something. Yeah. That wasn't kind of my my connection with my inner guidance, my connection with my intuition. And that's how all this came about. Now, in the Death and Beyond, I'm a series. I'm starting out with a lot of very brain-focused things, because I'm talking about near-death experiences, deathbed visions, about currently we are going into the topic of reincarnation, all this sort of things, because I went through all these topics and researched them to solve my really big question about death, my metaphysical question about death. If we die and dissolve and nothing remains of us, except for maybe some energy that floats around and goes somewhere else, but nothing remains of our personality, of our consciousness, then what's the meaning of life? I mean, what's it all for? Why even do that, So that was my big question for as long as I can remember, because death has been something that was very present for me from a young age, and probably because we had a couple of deaths when I was a child. So because I had a lot of older relatives, which is because one of my parents is the youngest child with a huge distance. So there were a lot of older relatives. And at some point, I started digging into that, because I think most of us have grown up with the notion that from a scientific perspective, that's what happens. Our consciousness, our personality, everything arises from our brains. And when our our body dies, our brain dies, and it dissolves, and then obviously everything that arises from there dissolves too. That's essentially the notion most educated people, I think, who are not very religious have grown up with, and I was deeply unhappy with that. But I'm not one of those people who can just see deceased people and talk to them or have some other form of spiritual gift. I mean, I know people who are like that, who have
But
other
Suzanne,
challenges.
you know, I quite, so maybe you can't like do that, but you're talking about channeling, and I mean, there's some deep, good spiritual journey even going on here. So I know you come from the cerebral world and doing all that research, but I love
And the thing
that
is,
you're getting deeper connected.
the thing is, what is needed. I'm essentially doing the show mostly for people like me, because what is needed for people like me who come from that world and are unhappy with this notion, what they need is first to get a bridge on the intellectual level, get a bridge over to accepting that there's more. And that's essentially my result. My personal research is that there's more.
Well, what I love about this, and sorry for talking,
and then you can open up for your own experiences, like I've done, and which is in the narrative then to share how this came about, and things like, you know, having a meeting with my deceased father and things like that.
Oh, I love that. So, and you know what, Suzanne, I came from a very black and white, not even really getting into religion at all, and not even thinking about like this spiritual journey. And there's things that have happened along the way that started bubbling up for me and opening up things. And so I appreciate this conversation you're having today, because I can hear all the research. You're so good at research, like academia, and being part of that. And then you get to be the person that bridges that helps people. They're saying, I feel something different. There's something going on. You really understand that world where they're coming from, but also what they're asking for. And we need more people out there like that, you know, can be hunkered in both areas and asking these questions and feeling that it literally, when we die, there's nothing else that is the end, and everybody gets to have their own view. So please add your comments for sure. But I appreciate the work you're doing with this work that you're doing. And how are you feeling? I think that's maybe the last part of this is, how are you feeling where this is taking you in life? Are you feeling like you finally got that inner connection and you're learning more about you and how you're serving out there also in the world and what you do?
Yes, I have found the way back to my inner connection. There is it's mostly a thing of dealing with, you know, external challenges and kind of aligning things in a way that is different, very different from all that I have been taught, and that in an environment that operates in a completely different way. So yes, I'm on the way there, and I'm essentially sharing my journey, and I can, as I said, facilitate things like trance states for people who just want to experience that, because that was essentially my first step into this realm, was a longer trance journey to the life between lives. But yeah, I think both sides are needed. My idea to start this show, the Death and Beyond show, was came about because I encountered in my research people who were just like me, who came from a very similar background, and then changed their mind about it because of things they found out or experiences they had. And I thought, if that is something that helps me, because for people who don't have, you know, innate spiritual gifts activated yet, and people who are very brainy, someone who comes along and says, well, I've been able to see deceased people from 3 years old, they are not the people that are helpful to them. because that's people who are operating in a kind of in a different reality because they have other perceptions. So they need someone who can bridge the gap, so to speak, and who has made a transition. And that's what I'm trying to do with that. And I actually decided just recently, because I looked a little bit at Richard Dawkins, which I only glanced at him many years ago when I was restarting my seeking journey, and thought, no, don't think that's someone who's going to help me go further in any way. Although I've read a lot of things from all sides, and I just recently stumbled over him on YouTube and thought I just address him at some point in this show, but I need to do some reading before so I can tackle that.
Oh, I'm enjoying your work. So I want to keep up on what you're doing and what you're learning, because I'm finding that I'm not certified in all these different things, but when somebody brings up something, it's like it just seems like normal. And I'm like, why does that seem normal? Like, so what I feel is that in your discovery, I feel like I'm in the same kind of space as you, of like the curiosity is pretty darn cool. And there's all these books around this that are, really speaking to this. And everybody, you get to, appreciate what you feel, because I think this is a sensitive conversation for some people, but I know I live in this every day. I'm just like, I'm learning by just breathing in and just being curious, by watching my dogs, by talking to Whiskey, the horse next door, and like holding my trees, when I realized that, like, there was one time, Suzanne, that I was going through a really, really big time last year, like emotional, big generational stuff. And I would say for about a week, I was like abruptly throwing up. And it was because the person that I was with, I was getting sick. Like, I was physically getting sick, like my body, like, can't be around this anymore. Can't be around this. And what happened to me is I just kept hearing, go to a tree, go to a tree. Now, it's not like I heard a voice and like it's somebody, I'm talking to somebody, but it was just like this thing. And I held on to a tree for the first time, because I held on to trees, and trees were around. And I know people talk to trees, because that, we get to hear what different people do, but instantly my body calmed. And so there were times throughout that week that I was throwing up, and I wouldn't stop, because it was generational, big changes. So I went to a tree again, a different tree, and put both hands on and literally stopped throwing up. Then there was a time where I was so sick, and I couldn't even throw up. I was just, my whole body, I was scared, because, I was going through. And I held onto a tree and I threw up once, and it just totally let go. And all of a sudden I was like, my world has changed. Like, I don't have to tell people to go talk to trees. I don't have to but just being with this, I understand. So I did a retreat, and I had people hold on to our trees. We have tons of trees out here. And I was like, you really believe it? Me too. Like, it was so new to me, but I saw people that saw black and white, and they were just all into it. And I was looking, going, I feel this is amazing, because I got to experience it without talking to anybody about it, and now I have a retreat, and that's the last thing they're doing during the day. So I really appreciate how you're bridging and how you are learning about your journey and how you're opening up to what that looks like, and especially the channeling. We need people out there that get to bridge and help others. So I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Maybe a last word, just as a message to people who would like to have their own experiences and have been trying for years.
And you say I have your website up there too. That's in English. What would you like?
Yes, exactly. I have one page where all the offers are in English, and I have the pages on the shows are also have English, so that should be intelligible for everyone. Just what I wanted to say is, I've been at this years, decades to be precise, from my late teens, with interruptions, until now that I'm 48. And I just want to say, if you have a desire to to learn more about that and to have your experiences and all that. You don't need to have a near-death experience, and just keep going, because it can take years and years and years that nothing much is happening. But at some point, there may quite amazing things may come along, and it's a journey, and you never know when it's going to come for a specific person. It's an individual journey, so you can't extrapolate from other people's journeys when it should happen and all that.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm really just thinking and breathing in. So it's taking me a moment to even like, jump in and say thank you again. But it's just this feeling that there's something special on this earth and what we're experiencing. And with all the tension and the stuff that's happening, whatever the outlet is, whatever works for you, this feels like, it feels really, really good. So thank you for sharing, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we have Stephanie Cathan coming up, and let me introduce you to her. This is wonderful because Stephanie has been sharing that she has been going through some big challenges, and it's been incredible being able to get to know this woman. So sweet, just so excitable about just like what's happening in her life, and a lot of like, when you have something that majorly happens to you, you get to have like this second chance to be able to start really looking at these new things. And that's why I'm so excited that she's here. Let me do a little bit more of an introduction here. So she's an energetic reset specialist, a vibe tuner. Oh, I like that. I think of it sexy, like a vibe tuner. Come here, Stephanie. Give me some new vibe. I'm feeling kind of down today. I need a vibe tuner. I love it. Transformational speaker, podcast host. And Stephanie, I want to be on your podcast when you get it going again. And founding member of the International Speaker Network, which is where I met her. And also she's seen as a visionary and internationally recognized energetic reset specialist in the personal growth industry, known for her unique approach and rapid results. And you can find her, and I'll make sure that you get this link. But welcome in, Stephanie. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you so much. This has been so amazing listening to all of these amazing humans who gathered with us today to make an impact. And I just want to say a quick shout out to all of them because you're all so amazing. And I'm so honored to rock this stage with you today. So fun.
I love it, Stephanie. Do you want to share? Do you want to start off just kind of sharing your journey, how your next layer that you're in right now? It just seems so new.
I'm not going to share the layer that I'm in right this second. However, I'll share the story that started this whole thing.
Go for it, my friend. I can't wait to hear.
Have you ever, and if you're watching live, give us a yes in the chat if you have ever felt that you needed change in your life, that you couldn't stand things the way they are one more second. That happened for me. I remember the exact moment. My kids were younger. I had just left another toxic relationship. We were staying in a motel, me and my two boys and our dog, which was a pit bull, Trinity. And I was waitressing during the day just to pay for the motel at night. And that was in November in Vermont, which is this time of year, very cold and scary. And then one day, the unimaginable happened, and I didn't make enough money to pay for the room. And I had to go tell my children that we had to sleep in the car that night because I didn't make enough money. And I remember just falling to my knees outside of this motel. And I was just like asking God, what is the difference between successful people and me? What do they know that I don't know? And why does their reality look like this and mine looks like this? because what is it? We are all made of the same stuff. And what I heard in that moment was decision. And I didn't really grasp the power of that right then. However, I did make a decision that day. And I decided in that moment that I wanted more. I want more for my life. I want more opportunities. I want more knowledge if I need it. I want more than what this reality right here is offering me. And I moved over a mountain where nobody knew me. And I opened up a retail shop, even though I didn't have any money. And all of that happened because I made a decision in that moment and I showed up for it. I knew I wanted it so bad. And that decision opened up doors. And I discovered in that moment that decision is a superpower. And I decided that I wanted to talk to the people who were experts and who were successful. And I launched in 2010 the Mind Grow Radio internet show. It wasn't called podcast way back then in the day. It was internet radio. And I started talking to people and asking them the questions that I had. And I opened a little retail shop in Wilmington, Vermont, where I made candles and soap, and I sold it. And I was dressed in a princess dress, waving at traffic because we're in a high tourist area at a ski resort town. So that was how, and nobody came in. I had no customers. But during that time, I was throwing myself into my computer in the back room, learning about my thoughts, learning about energy. I heard Bob Proctor talk about vibration, and it changed my world. I started studying like mad. I would be practicing like this, practicing my energy, which I can do easily now. But if you had walked by my shop and seen a lady in a princess dress, like, I was the crazy lady in town. And that was okay with me because I decided that I wanted more. And the universe started bending over backwards, giving me those opportunities to show up, even when I didn't know how I was going to get to the things I wanted. I realized that my stories had so much power, and your stories are packed with energy. They're packed with frequency, and the universe matches you up with that broadcast. And what I came to discover is that we are living, breathing, broadcasting receivers. We're constantly broadcasting a message, with our actions, with our thoughts, and we're receiving based on that frequency. And as I delved into this stuff, I started doing energy sessions in the back rooms. I started treating my dog with energy work, doing practices, making my kids let me practice on them. And the more I practiced, the better I got. And then in 2011, Hurricane Irene came through our town and totally demolished it, including my store. But because of the decision that I made, that I wanted more, and what I had learned just by showing up, even though I was showing up in a way that other people thought wasn't normal. I might have been showing up as a shop owner, but really I was showing up as a life learner. I wanted to learn what they knew. I was doing interviews in the back room. I was broadcasting my own frequency, and I was getting return on that. And so the flood came in 2011, and in 2012, I opened my energy practice. Energy works with me. And since then, I've been working around the globe with some of the most amazing humans, helping them tune their vibration station. And if you hang out with me for any time at all, you'll hear me use that phrase frequently. I'm always tuning my vibration station, and I'll tune yours too if you hang out with me long enough. And I wanted to bring to this event today some things that the viewers and those in the audience can use right now to tune your own vibration station to the frequency of your goals. They spend about 5 minutes teaching you about this in school, about vibration. They teach you about your 5 senses. I think it's like in 2nd or 3rd grade, maybe 4th grade. You learn about all your 5 senses. You learn that they all run on vibration, and that's it. You never hear another thing about that. But really, in the world, vibration runs the show. And I started looking at the stories that I had been telling. And I had been telling stories of victimhood. I was a homeless waitress. I keep meeting all these sketchy guys. I keep ending up in bad situations. Like I blamed everything and everyone. But that day outside that motel, when I made that decision, something else happened. I took responsibility for my future results. I was no longer going to let circumstance run the show. I was going to run the show. And I learned how to do that with my vibration. And there are some things that I discovered that make a huge difference. We live our stories. So what are the stories that you're telling every day? Are you telling stories like, I really, really want this, but I know I'm never going to get it? I really, really want this, but I don't believe I can have it. There's a million reasons why I can't. I really, really want to move into a new place. I don't have the money for rent. I don't have what I need to get there. There's nothing for rent around here. We're constantly, without even realizing it most of the time, splitting our energy. But if you could just focus for a little bit on the feeling of what it is, and you'll hear this from gurus out there in the personal growth world, they'll tell you to feel it first, get into the feeling, but they don't tell you what that means. I mean, how do you feel like you have money if you don't? How do you feel successful if you don't believe you are? So I bring people a little bit deeper, and I want you to look at what is the feeling that you think you're going to have when you get the thing that you want. So for me, I wanted to inspire. I wanted to touch people. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to make my voice powerful in a way that could transform someone's life. And the universe, once I declared that, the universe started opening up doors for opportunities for me to do that. And the stories I started to tell, instead of what a victim I was or how horrible things were, was I'm really good at this. It's an easy to believe thing. I'm really good at this. When I practice, I'm really good at this. When I'm feeling good, things go good for me. Easy to believe statements. And those little things are constantly tuning your vibration station. So I want you to take like a little minute to look at your vibrational broadcast. What is the story that you've been telling lately? Just today, what is the story you're telling today? Are you telling the story of how good things are going? Or are you telling the story of how challenging this day is? Are you telling the story of how you're feeling great about what's taking place? Or are you pointing out everything that irritates you in the whole world? Because those are both designing pathways for you. And you can follow that pathway either way. And what I share with my clients, I give them 3 steps to tune your vibration station right in the moment. Okay. So the first thing is understand that you are a vibrational being. You have to accept that mostly. You have to accept that everything about you is vibrational, right down to the hairs in your nose, the cords in your throat, your voice that comes out of your mouth is vibration. If you hold your hands on your throat, you can feel it. It runs everything. And so get clear on what you want. And when I say that, I don't mean the stuff, not the stuff that you want. What are the feelings that you want? And Rhonda listed her things that she has. And I love that because I do this thing called a feeling tree. And I choose in the mornings the feelings that I want to experience during the day. So mostly those consist of confidence, ease. I want things to be easy. I don't want to have to struggle. I want it to be graceful and easy as I transition from one step to the next. I want clear communication. Clarity is always a big thing for me because I want to clearly understand the information that is relayed to me, and I want to be clear when I'm broadcasting whatever it is that I want to say. So get clear and ask for clarity. I ask for like 3 or 4 things that are easy to remember. And I do this visualization exercise that I can share with you if you like. It takes like 90 seconds. I do it first thing in the morning. It's called a feeling tree. So I imagine myself before I've taken like that first awake breath. I imagine myself like there's a big portal. And the great thing is you can do this regardless of who's in bed with you, if you got your pets around, if your kids are in the next room. It doesn't matter because this is a thing between you and you. And so I imagine this beautiful portal before me in my imagination. And as I walk through the portal, it feels extremely safe and beautiful and magical. And it takes me down this enchanted looking path, and everything is lit up and I can see the energy glistening all over. And as I walk this path, I have this little basket with me, and there's this huge tree before me, and it's majestic and beautiful. And it's got all different kinds of fruits hanging on it. And each fruit represents a feeling that I want to meet up with during this day. And so there I'll pick my clarity, or I'll pick my joy. And I like evidence of stuff, so I will always pick something that I can recognize easily when it shows up, like a belly laugh or something like that. And I put it in the basket. And then when I have 4 or 5 things, I imagine just putting my arms around the basket, and I'm pulling it closer and closer and closer, and the basket is disappearing, and then my hands are just on my chest, and all of those feeling tree fruits are now within me. And now I can walk back down the path, step through the portal, I'm back in my space, and I have all of those feelings. And my job now is to trust my divine team of non-physical rock stars who are always on the scene to rendezvous me with those moments. And they always do. And when I acknowledge and say, wow, that's the belly laugh that I wanted, and I recognize and acknowledge I did that. I summoned that. I attracted that. I summoned that with a broadcast, and really appreciate the whole divine process. Something happens, like I feel empowered, and then I meet up with the confidence that I wanted. It's like a wonderful, visceral experiment that you can do with yourself that takes like 90 seconds. And the thing that is really powerful is to acknowledge it when it happens. So get clear on the things that you want to feel and give this little thing a test for yourself. Try it for a week, try it for 10 days. If you try it for 30 days, you'll probably never stop. I have not stopped. I've been doing it for like 10 years. And it has shifted the reality that I'm currently living in. It's brought me from a life of despair into a life of awareness, a life of victim into reality of victorious inspirer. That's how I feel sometimes. And step 2 is, as I've said, look at the stories that you are telling. Are the stories that you are telling matching up with the things that you're wanting? Are the stories that you're telling about the guy that really irritates you a match for the relationship that you want to attract? Are they matching up? Take a look at that. And if they're not, then change the story. And a really easy way to implement shifting your story in the moment is when you catch yourself telling a story that doesn't serve you, and you will catch yourself doing that. When you do, don't beat yourself up about it. Just say, that's my old story. And my new story is, and then tell a new story that is believable. An example is, I had a family member who, we live in a small space, and was working my last nerve, and I started to feel taken for granted, and I started to feel resentful. And I was complaining in my mind as I was doing dishes, and I'm like, and that is my old story. And my new story is, I love this person. I know this person. I know this person does the best they can all the time. There's so many things I love about this person. And I know that when they know better, they do better. I know that they have amazing qualities, and I love them. And that was the new story. Within 24 hours, the next time I rendezvoused with that family member, they were like, hey, I wanted to give you $75 to help out with all the stuff that's been going on. I really appreciate what you've been doing to help me out. Thank you so much. It was a match to my new story. But as long as I was telling that old story of frustration, they couldn't help but show up any other way, because that is what I was tuned to. Had nothing to do with them. It was the tuning of my own vibration station. And when you're tuned to frustration, and when you're tuned to conflict, and when you're tuned to a battle, those are the over and over and over again situations that you're going to find yourself in. Same shit, different day. Does that relate to anybody? It's the stories that you tell. It's the same shit, different day, because you're telling the same stories today that you were yesterday. And then step 3 is you have to believe that this is possible for you. You have to believe in yourself that there is the possibility that things can go good for you. You have to believe in your ability to broadcast on purpose. I call it feeling on purpose. And when you feel on purpose, you get to feel the things that you want to feel a lot more often than feeling the things that you don't. And that doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to happen. It means that when those things do happen, you have the resources available within yourself to shift that, so you don't have to stay there very long. And these techniques have literally changed everything. And they sound very simplistic, and they sound like, wow, if I really just change my story, change your story. But believe the story that you're changing it to. So start with something that's very easy to believe. Don't say, I'm so broke. Oh, that's my old story. My new story is I have $1 million. Because you're not going to believe that. You're going to think you're a liar. And that's not a good feeling either. So go really easy with the new story that you're telling and activate your own personal power, because you have the ability to do so much more than you can even imagine. You have the ability to grasp into the invisible, reach into that invisibleness, and grasp onto something that is truly incredible. And that is your own personal power. You don't have to be powerless. You don't have to be a victim. And you don't have to reside in that shame, blame, horrible feeling reality, because you have the ability to tune your own vibration station. You have the ability to tune your frequency to things that you actually want to experience. And there's a Q&A on this, right? So if anybody has questions, please bring it to the Q&A. And any nuggets that you have felt, please just like do #nugget in the chat and let us know. And I will come back to each and every one of you that I see and respond.
Oh, I'm loving this, Stephanie. I think about this, about like how your body can feel it. And because you can go, that's bullshit. Like if you're saying, oh yeah, my life is perfect. And like you just start saying these things, but your mind is like, that's not true. But I love how you had those 3 steps, and this, how you get into it and what you're feeling and the reality and and asking yourself, connecting with that. Like, what do you really want? And do I want the same, what is it? Different day, same bullshit, something like that. That made me laugh because I haven't heard that phrase in so long, but it's so freaking true.
Right? It's
Yeah,
so
you really affected me today, and thinking about that, because we get in our bullshit, we get to motivate each other. It's incredible.
And believe that this is possible for you.
Mhm.
I didn't believe, when I was in that mindset of the homeless waitress victim woman, I didn't believe that things could be different for me. I thought that this was the hand that life dealt me, and I just had to do the best I could. But I'm somebody who's gone from food stamps and Section 8 housing, being homeless, to somebody who owns my own business, who is self-sustaining, and who now has the ability to make an impact, not only with my voice, but with the way that I'm able to help my clients tune their own vibration station and help them activate their own personal power. Because this is a learnable skill. It's not something only certain people are privy to.
Yeah, right.
Everybody can do this,
Right.
but you have to just.
I find myself living in this in truth every day. There's a lot of mental abuse I think we do to ourselves until we discover that there is just this purpose in our life. And if we allow ourselves to keep doing that and not take those 3 steps, not really what you're talking about, that it stops you. And so I love the work that you're doing, because you're helping people get to the point of, here, wait, I can have a better life. And I love your life story about your kids and recognizing you did not make enough money to be able to, take care of what you thought the most important thing you need to take care of. And you found that pivot point. But that was the juice, huh, Stephanie? Like that was where you just kind of let this whole thing that money trumps everything, and learning more about like what that meant for you too. Like, I don't have much money, I'm going to open up a store, and how you discovered how that opened you up, instead of saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. So I can see those 3 steps of how you've been going through the journey, how powerful that is.
It's been an amazing ride. And not to say that it hasn't been full of challenges, because life is.
Yeah.
Life just is. But it's how we respond to those challenges when they happen, and the skills you learn to maintain your vibe. Like, seriously, you could let something ruin your whole day. And for years, that was my reality. Like, something don't talk to me before I've had coffee. That was my old thing. Don't talk to me before I had coffee. I'm in a terrible mood. That was another thing.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Mood.
You deal with
so
me.
Then I would be in a bad mood. And I would
That
give
was
myself
okay.
an excuse to be that. And it feels so much better to be in a good mood. It feels so much better to allow myself to just be instead of declaring and preparing for a bad mood. But we do that as humans all day long. And you're so powerful. If you only knew how powerful you really are.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have another fear in your life. It's
oh gosh. Quote, it's been said before, but I mean, in that context, you will never have a fear in your life. That's perfect, Stephanie. I want to open up vocals for everybody. This is, we're getting close to the closing ceremony. I see, David, you've been adding some things here. Please share what your vision is, and also Susanna, we'll take turns.
What she's been saying is so true. I mean, here's a scientific fact. Everything is energy, including us. The same power that powers the universe goes through you. Every thought in your brain is an impulse of electricity. Electricity is energy in its purest form. Now, if that same energy can create everything around, not only around us, but everything in the universe, because that's what it is, it can certainly bring us whatever things that we want. Or it can take them away and work in the opposite manner, which is what most people do. But if you can harness that and control your thoughts, you were so resonating with me. It's unbelievable because this stuff is so freaking true.
Yeah, I think we really showed up today, and Stephanie with you. So do you feel that momentum, everyone? It's like it started off just sweet from the beginning of we just keep building this momentum.
Yeah.
Susanna, come on, I know you have something to add here. I mean, you're just probably
you
said great stuff with Stephanie, and we have David, and we definitely had Sloan. She's not here right now, but yeah, what do you have to say, my friend?
Yeah, I definitely have a couple of things because your story really resonates with me. I love this story, and actually, I'm a geek for finding small, easy, not time-consuming techniques that can help you a lot with a lot of things, and that's actually what I'm sharing in my life hacks video list. But one thing that I've noticed is when you try to change a story, and that's what Stephanie, what you also addressed, is that sometimes you have difficulty believing the other thing. And what I found really helpful, if you just want to get into a different feeling first, is and it's not my invention, but I find it really helpful to think, what do I want to feel instead? What is the feeling that I want to have now? So you notice that you don't feel good about somebody or something. And you think, okay, what do I want to feel instead? And the moment you start thinking about that, the feeling that you want to have starts building in your body. And that doesn't even require that you think that's currently true. It just starts coming. So that's one of the things. And the other thing is about thoughts. If someone is still very absorbed into their own thoughts and can't realize, because I know when I started meditating, the very first time I started that, I thought, okay, I'm supposed to not think thoughts. How do I do that? Or observe. And then I found the guidance, observe your thoughts. And okay, how do I do that? Because when you are identified with your thoughts, you can't see your thoughts. And what I found really helpful, which I actually learned in my hypnosis training as an introduction deepening method, is that you just try once to observe your thoughts by feeling where do they come from which direction. So when you are thinking, from which direction does that come? And obviously it depends if you are mainly thinking images or have an inner dialogue or have a mix of everything. And when you have absorbed that, then you can think of okay, but what form do they have? Is it images? Is it sounds? Is it some seeing words as written or something like that? And if you try to do that, that can really help to actually identify that your thoughts are something else but yourself.
I love that.
Obviously,
Well,
yeah.
okay, so Susanna, you bring up something. I definitely want to make sure that we connect with Stephanie, but we're just all revved up here right now. But I have to add something to that. I'm on the space now, Stephanie. I'm concerned about what I'm thinking because I feel like I can hear what people are thinking. Not that I'm fully in that yet, but there's something new that's starting to happen where I'm like, I like almost want to answer somebody. And I'm like, don't say anything. Like I'm at that new stage. And who knows what's real? And who knows that I'm just feeling a frequency, but I'm starting to speak with animals more, just kind of, just sending information to them. So I'm starting to hear humans' thoughts. And I'm like, is this that I get to feel their frequency and they're having a hard time or they're really angry at me and I get to hear this crap? Or is it, I think the more quiet we get and the less words, we're known to say 60,000 words or something every day, but the more we calm our nervous system, we start hearing things that aren't really like through our ears. So Stephanie, I believe you go into this very deep because what you're pulling here, this is actually your energy, right? That's, being moved around and of course, cumulative from the whole morning. But you see what you've opened up? Like, that's why you wanted to be at the tail end, because everybody's like, yeah, I said this and that tethers with this. And like, everybody has served a big purpose here today.
Beautifully.
So tell us, Stephanie, how are we going to connect with you? I have your capture here of some locations with LinkedIn and, work with me, Stephanie, like that. It says energy works.
Energy works with me. And that is the magic mantra that I tell everyone. Because if you remember, my energy works with me. It doesn't care what it is you're creating with your stories. It will work with the story that you're telling. So my energy works with me. What am I broadcasting? My energy works with me. What am I creating? My energy works with me. What am I receiving? My energy works with me. It's a magic mantra. And I named my company that because I want people to remember that their energy works with them. Always. It's always working with you. It's never working against you. It is supporting whatever your broadcast is. Whether it's victim broadcast, whether it's confidence broadcast, whether it's fear or frustration or joy or ease. It doesn't care. It will work with whatever you're offering and bring more of it.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
Go for it, David.
Think about what you want. If you think about what you don't want or the bad stuff, the universe, the energy will bring that to you. If you simply think about what you want, this is really making it simple. Just focus on what you want, the universe will bring it to you. And if you start to drift and your mind wanders and it goes to the things that you don't want, you stop when you catch yourself and you refocus. And you think, here's a cool thing about YouTube. Everything is on YouTube. And whatever you dream about, there are videos of it on YouTube. Sometimes when I have a day that said, oh, I stop.
Mhm.
I put on YouTube and I put on certain videos of the things that I want. And I focus on it.
Yeah.
It brings it back. And it's just a tool
Yeah.
to help you think about what you want. Because like
Thank
you just
you,
said,
David.
the universe doesn't care.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that. Wow. This is wonderful. So catching up with Stephanie Cathin, energyworkswithme.com/. Wow, this is beautiful.
You can also find me on YouTube, the Mind Grow Radio Storyteller Series podcast. You can find it under Mind Grow Radio on YouTube, and that will give you access to some of those amazing conversations that I had that led me on this journey of understanding and tuning my own vibration station. There's some great interviews on there. It's all free. Go check it out. And stay tuned for Rhonda, who's going to be coming up on my show in the near future.
I love this. Stephanie, you are fantastic.
Thank you. Oh, I love it.
Ta-da! All right, everybody. So this is Fresh Chalk's Global Vision. We've had David Alimian, and we've had Sloan Reilly and Dr. Susanna Kurz and Stephanie Cathin and me, Rhonda Liebig, to serve you. And as we're exiting out, a little bit more to say, but as we're exiting out, feel the vibe, the frequency that you're in today. Take a breath in. Where were you before you came into this window to where you are now? Remember that we are here as a collective, and you notice how with the show that when you start feeling what you want to feel, like that feeling, I'm tired of the chaos going on in my head, or I start laughing at myself like, are you seriously telling that same story again? So, of course, we listen to 60,000 words in our head. If you are, I think the general population, this is kind of a science thing they've been talking about, 80% of that is known to be negative. Now, I believe you watching the show and us, being part of the show, that's not our stat, but the brain is in fight or flight. 90% of all that is just a cycle in the brain, because the brain is about like, how can I keep you in the same space? This is what we know. Stay with what we know. So we've been talking a lot about the heart coherence, and Stephanie talking about just the 3 steps and getting into what you truly want. And Susanna talking about the experience of being able to see black and white, very much extreme, into I'm studying and I'm doing research and this is what it is. And then she's like, okay, but how do we get connected from there? So she was on board with you about like, yeah, I see things black and white, or I used to. How do I bridge that gap? And so you definitely want to catch up with her. If you have a company where you are feeling like you keep hiring people and it doesn't feel like it's the right fit, I think with David's work is that you start having different conversations and interviews, even when you're starting to think, hey, I want this person around for a while. That's the first step for everybody. We all know that when you want to hire somebody. But it's the experience of, I'm bringing you on almost like a family. We're going to be working with this whole money thing and this kind of bonus thing that happens if you stay on, at a certain amount of time, and how this new person coming in, that they get this special journey of knowing that if I work in the way that they like respect the company, then I get to be with them for 5 years or 10 years, whatever the experience is in the conversation. So there's so much good information here. I enjoyed Sloane a lot. She was speaking to the vocals and her experience and being shut down and the stuff she went through as a child, and learning how she was actually giving herself a healthy vibration to be able to manage with the energy work that she was doing. Anybody else out there that you've been doing certain things, you didn't realize that was helping your spirit, helping your nervous system so that you're calm. You can start speaking more about what you care about, because the more calm that your body becomes, the being space. When your nervous system deep inside you, if you close your eyes, you may be able to catch it, but this is a very good practice to get into. Inside, your nervous system is consistently trying to reset itself. You may be so used to it shaking because it's trying to reset. It will not stop until it resets. So if you decide you're going to keep working hard because that's what you're supposed to do, that's what you were raised with, and that you feel sick, maybe you're on prescription drugs. And you're saying, I'm tired of that. Or your mind is at you, I'm tired of that. Your nervous system won't stop. Wake up in the middle of the night scared because everything's at you. Your nervous system doesn't stop. To stop that, feel that. It's a let go. It's about not being in fear. Not being in fear is one of the hardest things to say. Have you ever had anybody say, I stop being afraid, or just forgive? And you're like, okay, I'm in a good mood so I can hear that, but what are the steps? What do you mean? And those words just come at people. But we have been talking about strategies, motivation. Since I believe that I'm here for vocals, I'm not a singing coach. I'm learning to open up my voice, and I notice I'm getting a better singing voice as I'm practicing being down deep in my first chakra, like really speaking in a way that I feel bold. And I know that if I get to be here till I'm 90, that bold is going to keep growing and growing, because there is no ta-da moment. I believe that. So every time you come into this show and you get to see wonderful people like what we had today, know that I got your back as your host, as the person that produces this, as somebody who's been doing this for 8 years consistently, that's been physically out traveling, even with speakers, that I got your back. I want to be here for you. And everybody on this show today were hashtag speaker locking arms. Anybody that you've seen on this show, anybody out there that motivates you, lock arms with them. Let's bring up the frequency in this world. My humanity project is going to be in San Francisco in 5 years. There's going to be a stage there. This is what we're creating here. There's going to be, what do we need in this world to help humanity? Those people that are reaching for it, the people that are seeking through spirit, mindset transformation, entertainment, the coherence of that, so that we can be in groups first, to be talking and speaking about, hey, this is how I feel. I have a learning curve on this. And I'll have some dynamic speakers that I'm creating right now. In 5 years, we're going to have that's happening right now. It doesn't mean it's not happening. My humanity project, it means that I already know I'm going to be in the Golden Gate Park. And then I'm going to be over in Italy, in Venice. We're going to be doing some big things. Stick with the people that make you feel good. And you do that, we got your back. Keep locking arms. Go to the store and start talking to people. Tell them how much you care about them just by your look. And know that your smile, it's just the next smile, is using your vocals and being able to speak, because I love you. That's what this means in sign language. I appreciate you. You have an incredible day. We'll be reaching out to you again, because we love, after this post-glow show, that we're going to be speaking about what we talked about here. We'll bring you back to this, keep bringing you back to this, because this is what we do when we are speaker locking arms. Mwah. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Suzanne. Love you. Namaste. Amen. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.